You're listening to the Best Advice Podcast, guys. If you haven't already, give us a 5-star review and help spread the word. And if you have a question for the guys, email a voice recording to podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com. That's podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com. Today's episode is brought to you by Security Financial Management. If you're ready to level up your financial game, SFM offers a free initial consultation after each episode. Just send an email to podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com with the subject line complimentary consultation to book yours today.
Welcome back to Best Advice Podcast, guys. I'm your host, Rob Lovaglio, here as always with Dave Allen, Frank Lovaglio, and Mitch Walk. Gentlemen, what's crack-a-lackin'?
What's crack-a-lackin'?
We're still going. It's all good.
I like it.
You know what's crack-a-lackin'? Things in the market are doing well.
Knock on wood.
We had that little April issue and it's rallying again and it's almost close to the high again.
Absolutely.
So
managing that soft landing, managing that soft landing.
so that's good news.
Yeah, so far
about that one.
And then but until tomorrow, some other inflation report comes out, and it comes in so nice. And if that comes in like there's still inflation, bam! All of a sudden we're back on the roller coaster.
Right. So that's it. Long term and don't follow the daily news like that.
Absolutely.
Just listen to the Minute with Mitch. That's all you
Yeah, exactly.
Just listen to this.
that's all you need. That's all.
So we like to start each episode with the powerful practice of positive thinking. And we like to call this segment, Give Me Something Good. So Dave, give me something good.
I'm just going to do a quick quote. We've been doing these big, long things lately. Just a quick one, and I absolutely have no idea who said this.
Take authorship of
Let me
it.
just read it, but I said it.
Okay, it's Dave.
Time decides who you meet in your life. Your heart decides who you want in your life. And your behavior decides who stays in your life.
Now he's a philosophizer.
That's true.
About that.
That's good.
That's true. That's got a lot of truth to it, right?
You can ruin a lot
Yeah.
of relationships or make a lot of good relationships just by the way you behave.
Sure.
Right.
Your actions.
That's
mean
good,
a lot.
Dave.
For
That's
example.
good. I like it.
That's
We-
good.
That's
It's a
interesting, Dad.
good
Our family was talking about like everyone was put in your life at different.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking
Wasn't
about
Caroline
this
saying that?
weekend.
It's like
Yeah.
one's there to like give you
Yeah.
confidence. to lead.
Yeah.
One's there for like the
Yeah.
long term, like really likes you. The other one's there for different reasons, but they
Yeah.
come and go throughout your life. But everyone's there like for a reason. And sometimes you're there for someone else's reason.
That's
and
right.
And you're kind of getting the shit end of
They're
it.
helping them through
Yeah.
something. So God might put you to be the helper or the helpee, if those are words. Sometimes you're helping others. Sometimes people helping you.
Somebody enters your life. And have you ever had somebody that enters your life that all at once just becomes like almost your best friend?
Yeah. There's a feeling.
If
Yeah.
there's some reason they're there, and it's like you wonder, is it a higher?
Help you get through.
Just
then
I think go with
yeah.
it.
And
Just
then there's
go
that
with it.
person that gets in your life that you wish never entered your life, and then you learn a real lesson from it.
But those are warning. I think that, again, I'm going to go with faith because I'm a faithful guy. I think God puts people in your life. And I think a lot of times it is not by mistake. I think that people come in, and even the ones that aren't so good, I think that's God's way of saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you a little warning shot here. Be careful of these type of folks.
Yeah.
They're kind of toxic. And then it's your job, just like you said, to decide not to make them part of your life and to get them out of there. So anyway,
That's where the old
Yeah.
saying comes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
that's right.
And that's that lesson.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it right because
That's
someone
hard.
in the old days didn't get that right. Remember,
That's right.
20 years ago.
What's our question?
I love it. I love it. Let's get to the question of the day. Today's question comes from Mitch from Destin. Mitch, what you got for us?
You want to say something? Got a tax question for you guys. With sunsetting provisions of the real estate tax code coming up in 2025, are there any planning strategies to get ahead of this?
Thank you, Mitch. I got nothing for you guys today. Who wants to start this one off?
I'll start because I'm going to let these guys talk about that fun slat provision. Easy that day. And I'll start it off. One of the things that I wanted to chat about is the gifting. A lot of people don't realize that each year you can give away to as many people as you want $18,000 in 2024. Looks like it's going to go to $19,000 next year. But let's say, for example, I'm in a really great mood and I just want to give $18,000 to all my partners. So Mitch gets $18,000, Dave gets $18,000, Rob gets $18,000. I'm still feeling generous. I'm looking for some other folks. No, but people need to understand if you're a spouse, husband and wife, that's 18 apiece. That's $36,000 you can give to each child. So if you got 5 kids, you can so the key to
Give
that.
it to them. Does that mean they get it tax free, Frank, or do they?
Yeah, great question. And that's the reason you go up to in 2024. 18,000 is the max because you can give $18,000 away to as many people as you choose, each person,
and they don't pay taxes.
Without taxes. There's no gift tax return. There's no paperwork. It's a tax-free gift to the recipient, which is a big deal. The other thing I wanted to mention before you guys get into a little more meat on some of those provisions or planning strategies is the part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, which Trump put in 2017, that's going to expire in 2025. But part of that whole TCJA, Tax Cuts and Job Act, was city and state taxes. A lot of people don't realize if you live in the Northeast and you're in Long Island or you're in Connecticut
or California, because those are the 2 states that were targeted.
California was targeted too. $10,000 is the maximum you can deduct on your tax return for city taxes. So if you've got a piece of property in Malibu, California, and that's a $5 million piece of property, let's just say you're paying $100,000 in taxes on that real estate tax. You can only deduct $10,000. The other 90, you're on your own. So that's going to go back. A lot of people in the Northeast and California, in New York and California were kind of the 2 big targeted states. They're going to be happy. There's a lot of things that aren't going to be happy.
So now when that happens, the 10,000 is going to go back to what it was
before.
There was no deduction, right? No minimum. So
no
whatever
minimum.
it is. And people may have heard it's called SALT.
SALT, that's right.
That's
state and local taxes.
Right. So you may have heard of it.
You spilled the salt. Spilling the salt is very bad luck.
I'm not sure what it is.
Salt you put on your egg.
Only silver lining.
That's the only silver.
One of the other one. That's why I brought it up. We got to help you guys out.
Frank, I just wanted to mention one other thing based on your 18,000.
Yes.
If you have kids or grandchildren and you want to give money away, you can accelerate it by putting it into a 529. So you can actually,
how many years can you do
I believe it's 5 years up front in one shot.
Okay.
You can't keep giving it every year, but you can take the
5 of your 18s up front.
5 18s up front,
Okay.
a little less than $100,000 up front, and fund that 529. So that money's actually working 5 years earlier, or a big
Makes
bundle of it. And a lot of it comes out of your estate tax free.
And remember on the
And it goes-
529, that's right. There's no tax. It's tax free. So
Right.
put 18 times 5. So 20 times 5 is 100. What's 18 times 5? 92? Where's financial advice?
Yeah, financial 92.
92. You put 92,000 in.
Right.
Great point. That means all 92's going to work and growing
Right.
tax free.
Right. And it's out of your estate, and husband and wife can both give it. So the kid's going to get about about $184,000 out of the estate.
Completely still in charge of it.
They're still in charge of it. Yes.
You put a string. Tell us that. You can put a
They
string
owners
on it.
of it.
The mom and dad own it.
Right.
Well, you want to own it. If
Right.
it's grandpa doing it for a grandkid, he
Right.
can own
He
it.
can own it.
Grandma.
Question for you guys then. You put in the 92, both parents do. So now you got 184,000. That's a pretty
Right.
good chunk of money there, and great place for probably you let that compound. You got college done plus room and board
Right.
and other things. What happens if grandchild, let's call him Joey, little Joey, he just hates school. He's just a great electrician. What happens to that
You're
money?
in charge of that money yourself.
How do you get it back?
You give it to another grandkid.
But also, so this year the law just changed. The tax law changed on that. A percentage of that money, if the child does not go to college, can roll into an IRA for that child.
Oh, that's great.
Roth IRA.
All right. So
Roth IRA.
There's a rule on that now. They've got
A lot of rules,
It has
right?
to be in effect for 15 years.
Right.
And then, so, I mean, let's say that kid's not going to school and
He just hates school.
He's not going.
Right.
And maybe you're 5 years into this thing. You can't
Yeah.
roll it right away to a Roth.
No.
You just let it sit there. It's doing what a Roth's doing anyway. It's growing
tax free.
And
Right.
then when you hit 15 years, you can do 35,000.
Right.
Okay.
In
But
a
you can't
Roth.
do it all at one time.
But that's nice to have that option. Okay, let's just say, just for purpose of the discussion, all those options are off the table. He doesn't want an IRA. There's no other kids that you can transfer to. Is there some penalty to get it back?
Yeah. You pay tax.
Pay tax on
Like
it.
annuity kind of rates, right? Isn't it ordinary income?
Ordinary income, I
Okay.
believe.
On the gain.
On the
piece.
gain. Just on the gain, because you
Okay.
have basis.
Highly unlikely, though. Normally, there's one other child or a sibling or.
Well, use it yourself. You can use it yourself. There's a lot of options on that. Yeah.
Lots of options.
60s want to go back and
There's a lot of options.
Yeah.
So
No, I
again, so you can get a lot of money out of your estate, for the estate tax issues and take care of your grandkids or take care of yourself or
Right.
anybody because it can go in for anybody.
And it's a big, Mitch, speak a little bit about, and then we'll get into the slats in a minute, a little bit about the big reduction. I mean, it's 13.6 million, right? You can pass
Yeah.
per person.
Right now.
What does it go to?
It's going to, they haven't made it positive on what it's going to drop to, but probably somewhere around what it was before.
5 or 6.
Yeah, about $5.5 to $6 million.
Inflation.
Yeah, they adjusted for inflation. So some people are saying now it could be about $6.5 million. Now again, $6.5 million is still $13 million out of
Decent.
your
With
estate
good planning.
with good planning, right?
Six and a
with
half
good
per
planning.
person. Yeah.
This is because again, if you do have fortunate enough to have that kind of number, there's a lot of planning. To your point, Dave, this is just not magical and just happens.
Yeah.
There's a lot of planning between your financial advisor, your attorney, and even your CPA. So what we like to do is have the financial advisor kind of be the quarterback and work with your CPA and your attorney to get this done. And
We're not attorneys.
we're not attorneys, we're
very
not
clear.
CPAs, but we know what your goals are, so we help manage where you're going forward.
And we understand the rules.
Yep. And we
just can't
do the
make them
rules.
That's right.
Yeah, because we don't have the law degree to
Right.
sign the documents and give you that tax advice or that legal advice.
Right.
But we quarterback that and work with your other two professionals
To make sure it
So-
all gets done. Just
sit
kind
in
of
those
be.
meetings and be part of them.
Yeah.
and make sure. And, the attorneys know what they're doing, but there's a lot of complications. There are many, many issues. And it's called the Spousal Lifetime Access Trust.
What's that?
It's called a SLAT, your favorite, their favorite word, the
Easy.
SLAT. Okay. But anyway, you need to talk to your attorneys about that if you're in the higher tax brackets. And we think sooner than later, because what's going to happen, while it is a lot of money in the United States, there are a lot of wealthy people that this is going to save them a big chunk of money. And attorneys only have enough time.
I mean, without making fun of
The name. Yeah.
What's it for?
What it does is, as we said earlier, right now, husband and wife, about 13.6 million, say 13 million apiece, get tax-free money to pass on in their estate.
You could right now, you could take 27 million.
Yeah, almost
and move
27
that
million
without tax.
without any tax.
Okay.
And
you didn't need 2 of them.
Husband
you
and
need
wife.
2 of them, right? So what the SLAT does is it takes the money out of your estate, but then, there's some very, very important factors here that you make sure you know what you're doing, because once the money comes out of your estate and goes to your spouse, you really lose that because it's not in your estate. You can have use of it. Your spouse has control of it. It could skip a generation. There's a lot of different issues out there. So it's very complicated, but extremely important. I believe the estate tax rate on anything over, say, 6.5 million a piece when it goes back is going to be about 45%. You're going to lose about half your money. And again, we're fortunate we're in Florida, so we don't have state income tax.
Right,
That's why a
another
lot of people
chunk.
move here. Mainly, I think there's only 5 states that don't have state income tax.
One of them. Texas is another
Texas,
one.
I think Tennessee is one as
Well,
well.
people are coming this way,
Yeah.
right? They like to avoid
Let me
that.
give a couple caveats.
Yeah,
Some
talk about that, Dave.
may not want to do that.
Yeah.
First one is you need to have a strong marriage, because if you're doing this for you and your spouse, you want to make sure that you stay married, because if, let's say, the lady, let's go the other direction, is the wealthy one, and she sets up a SLAT and it's for the benefit of the spouse. She has access to it, he has. But if they get divorced, guess what? It's going to the the beneficiaries and no longer of her use anymore.
So
It's
you
out of the
basically,
estate.
so you're getting rid, in a sense, that money's gone. It's out of your estate. So you can't really just.
You have full use of it.
Yeah.
You're married. It's all easy, but it is out of your estate.
Okay.
You lose control.
And it's going to grow outside of your estate too. So that's a beauty. Let's say you got $8 million out there, $6 million, whatever. That $6 million is now growing outside of your estate. So when you ultimately pass to your beneficiaries, your kids, whoever it may be, there is not an estate tax on that number. So there's a real good use of it, but you need to make sure your marriage is strong. you got to make sure you do it right. You got to have the proper assets in there. It can't be joint assets that moved into that. So that's where the attorney will guide you to make. That's why you get a good qualified attorney to really identify the assets.
Right.
Let's see. You got to know that you've got to use this money for health, education, maintenance, support. It can't just come out because I need a new Mercedes. It's got to come out because maybe I need it for healthcare reasons. And for beneficiary purposes, this is kind of a big one. You got to be real careful about this is, when you die, let's say you got a house that you paid $300,000 for and you've lived in Florida for 30 years and now it's worth $3 million. Well, when your kids inherit that now, they get to step up the cost basis. That $3 million goes to them clear. But if that asset is,
and then if they sell it for $3.1 million, they have $100,000 tax.
But
not
if they
$3
put
million.
that house inside a slat, then they paid $300,000. They have the original cost basis, so they're going to pay full federal income tax on the gain.
So there's the negative there if it's inside the slat. I always just kind of to wrap up the discussion just for time purposes, it always bothered me a little bit when you think about estate taxes just as they are. I mean, think about you work really hard. You pay income tax. We all know you got FICA, FUTA, all federal income tax, and then you save that money. Then if you're fortunate enough to make enough money after all your bills, you then start investing and you invest every year, every month.
Really well.
And all of a sudden let's just make it fun. You accumulate $1 million. It's a nice round number. That's all after tax. And now with these laws, depending on what that exemption is, all of a sudden the government says, hey, I know that's all after tax. You've saved that money, but that wealth we're talking about, we're going to get it again. Another 40%. Wait a minute. Didn't I work 30 years and this is all after
$13 million to do it.
Yeah.
With, but
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's no fun. They're not
people at 15, 20 million,
another 40%.
You got 15 million right now. There's basically,
you're going to get $2-3 million.
You're going to pay tax on additional $5 million. You do that
40% on 5,
45.
I
think it's
pay $2 to $2.5 million.
Thanks so much, but here's another $2.5 million tax bill.
But also, what I don't want to forget about the sunset, because we're talking about some really big numbers, and it doesn't affect the vast majority of the country. However, what affects pretty much everybody is the tax rates are going up. I think we're at 10, 12, 22. Those rates are going up. So it's going to affect everybody right now. So
and of course,
everybody needs to take a look at this.
Yeah, all bets are off. This is all congressional, right? So depending, and we never get on politics on the show, but depending on who wins, Democrat or Republican, they can sweep this. Someone could grab it and say, you know what, we're going to keep it at 13.6, or they can say, I don't really like that 5.5 number. I mean, that's where it's heading. But any congressional, change, this could be all over the map in the end of 2025 because we got new elections, right?
The reality, there'll probably be something that happens in between now and then. But if everybody ignores it and that date rolls around, it will
automatically sets back.
And that's what people need. Everybody needs to check the tax bracketing,
right? Because
those tax brackets are set to go up.
Yeah.
If nothing happens, they automatically go up.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
That will affect everybody who listens.
All right, boys, we're getting to 15 minutes right now. As usual, let's get a quick update from the market this week with a Minute with Mitch.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute with Mitch.
Well, this week, we are going to see some more numbers come out, which hopefully, as Frank said earlier, are not going to be too scary. Yeah. Hopefully, the CPI, inflation will be in check. The job numbers were great last week. They were, 303 in February, and then March numbers came out. They were only 175,000. So that's had the market spark the market again. We did see 3 weeks of a pullback of about 5.5% in April after a very, very big first quarter, one of the best we've had in many years. But now May so far, here we are right around May 14th or so. The market has really had a good month of May. The numbers are good. It's almost flat.
April,
It's close to that 5.5% drop. It's very close. So it's really come back strong in the first 2 weeks. So we expect that to hopefully continue. And the end of the week, we'll get some big numbers, and that's going to see where we go again. Yeah, well, so next week, we'll report on what happened.
The CPI, there's some stuff coming out tomorrow, right?
tomorrow, and then usually Wednesday, Thursday.
And then a little bit of the, the underlying hype is, NVIDIA reports tomorrow. Again, we're long-term strategy kind of institutional investors, but still it impacts the market. I was reading something this morning. It said NVIDIA reports and does really well. That gets the AI thing hot again, and everybody gets excited.
Sweet.
So it all matters.
It
all matters.
This is for another show, but I don't know if everybody caught the meme stocks are back.
Yeah, I saw
GameStop yesterday was up about 78%.
Do you see what it's up today?
I did.
Yeah, 78, 80, 90.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And the same thing, AMC. So the memes may be back again as well.
But that does not mean go out and buy today.
No.
Those things, you'll get inlaid and bam, you get hurt. You can get hurt on those.
All right. Thank you, Mitch. Remember, folks, the secret to wealth is not what you earn, it's what you keep. Happy days, everybody.
This podcast is for entertainment and educational purposes only and is not intended as personal financial advice. Before making any financial decision, please do your own research and consult a financial advisor as needed. If you have a question for the guys, email podcast@bestadvicepodcastguys.com.